That water was cold. It gave
Yes,
me
for
like a
sure.
burst of adrenaline and I was like, oh my gosh, like I
Yes.
felt like I just had taken drugs.
I have some shit to say about waist trainers.
That's what we're here for.
I really hate them. It looks like a fridge for human bodies. And
Do those things every once in a while and there's like an area in your brain that can actually grow if you
yeah,
continue to like challenge yourself. But then when you
neuroplasticity, people.
yes, so brains can change and we can create new like neuronal networks.
Really huge ass billboard, beef tallow fry steak and shake. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're playing us. This is a marketing scheme. Go eat a watermelon. That has so many electrolytes, like an insane amount of electrolytes.
Drink some
And
coconut
that's whole food.
water. Yeah.
Literally whole food. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Physio Diaries podcast. We are your co-hosts, Dr. Melanie Ziaziaris
and Dr. Koshevatskiy, where students, healthcare professionals, and wellness junkies come to get the inside scoop of the healthcare and wellness industry.
The podcast you didn't know you needed by your favorite travel physical therapist. What's good, healthcare baddies and wellness freaks? Today we are going to get into wellness trends and if they're Mel or Al approved, because there is just so much shit out there right now in terms of like the wellness world and like longevity stuff, the biohacking. And so is it really just good marketing or is it actually good for you and beneficial? So we're going to get into it. Personal opinions, some research, some science, and we'll see if they're Mel or Al approved. But first, take 10 seconds to go rate us because we know we are your favorite physical therapists, but we want the ratings to show that. So go help us out. Give us a little rating, preferably 5 stars. It literally takes 10 seconds while you're listening to this. Help us reach more people and grow our brand. So let's get into the wellness trends, starting with waist trainers. Yes. Insert a drum roll. Waist trainers. The waist trainer world is a really interesting one because I don't think I've actually seen any like healthcare people talk about wellness trainers. I feel like it's all like models or like influencers and stuff like that. What type of, I guess, people have you seen talk about waist trainers?
I honestly haven't seen people talk about them, but I've seen a lot of people just wear them. Like if they do like a workout video or something, like a lot of fitness influencers wear them and they'll like take them off and be like, look, like this is all like the sweat that came out of it. And first of all, to me, I just don't see that being very comfortable. Like I like to go into the gym with like an oversized t-shirt. I don't like to like work out in tight clothing unless I'm doing yoga. I don't like anything restrictive at all. I just can't imagine working out in a waist trainer. It just seems so uncomfortable to me. Remember how when we were in middle school, like we would wear like tight clothing, like skinny jeans. We wear like multiple like sugar lip tank tops.
Oh my god, the sugar lips! I forgot about sugar lips. I remember being obsessed with sugar lips when I was in like 7th grade.
And like layering them. I'm like, ew, who let me out of the house? But anyways, I remember them talking about like really tight and restrictive clothing in PT school and how that can impact your lymphatic drainage, which we're going to get into a little bit with another category too. But basically just like the circulation and your body just like excreting toxins and everything. If you're wearing really tight restrictive garments on your body, that can impact your drainage system. So I don't think for me this is Al approved. What about you?
I have some shit to say about waist trainers.
That's what we're here for.
I really hate them. And as a pelvic floor therapist, especially hate them. Like they are absolutely terrible for women's bodies. Like so, I don't think there's any benefit. I'm gonna get into
what does it do? Yeah, what does it do to your pelvic floor?
Yes. So, okay, for one, the people who are wearing these things are people that like need more core activation, first of all. And this automatically just like makes you rely on the waist trainer. So you're actually not really utilizing those muscles, first of all. I've literally seen influencers be like, I sleep with this on. And I'm like, bro, let's be for real. You literally can't breathe. Right.
Yeah.
So, yes, lymphatic drainage. That is a great point. but also it does not allow your ribs to expand. If you don't have rib expansion, you cannot fully activate your diaphragm to its max capacity, and you are also cutting into your lung capacity and breathing capacity. So you're cutting off your quality of breath because you're limiting your lung capacity, and you're not allowing the lungs and the ribs to expand as much as they should for efficient diaphragmatic breathing. So the amount of intra abdominal pressure these things create are insane. And especially for women who have had vaginal deliveries or who already have pelvic floor dysfunction, AKA
Mhm.
any leakage, any pain with sex or penetration, any
Even like prolapse
prolapse,
is what I was thinking.
constipation, it all
Yeah.
increases the pressure in there. It only has one route to go, and it's either going to go, well, it's not going to go up because your
Yeah.
diaphragm and like other things are there. So it can literally only go down. So the only thing that's being put all pressure on is your pelvic floor. So if you're
Mhm.
already weak and got stuff going on it, it's just gonna keep, I don't wanna say
Exacerbating it.
progressing. Yeah, but like
Yeah.
exacerbating it for sure.
Yeah.
There's so many pelvic floor therapists who are like, fuck waist trainers.
There was this like era where, Marilyn Monroe was a girl but had a little skinny waist, and everyone talks about having like an hourglass figure,
Uh-huh.
but it's all like about aesthetics. But at the same time, people don't realize like another thing that we were reading about online, like you talked about the lung capacity that can reduce like 30 to 60%. And obviously
Yeah,
oxygen is important to us. Like our
right.
our brain needs a lot of oxygen, our tissues need a lot of oxygen.
Yeah,
Your oxygen demand increases when you are working out, which is like a majority of the women are. And I've mostly actually only seen women wear the waist
yeah,
trainers. I don't
yeah.
know if I've seen many
I don't
men
know
wear
if
it,
I've either.
but
No, I don't think
um, yeah, I mean, you could do whatever you want, but yeah, so lung capacity is severely diminished, which is crazy because obviously you can't expand your chest, right? Because your
Yeah.
lungs go pretty far down. And
Mhm.
then also you have organ compression, right? Your
Yes.
vital organs, everything that sits in your thoracic cavity is just being compressed. So your
Mhm.
intestines, everything that's kind of digesting your food, that is compressed and it has a lot less space to just function. So that can
Mhm.
affect your digestive system. It can affect so many different things, not even just like breathing, but just
Yeah.
so many other things. Like we talked about pelvic floors. For me, I have never had the urge to like try a waist trainer. I would rather just strengthen my core a lot
Yes.
and do it in other ways if I want to just like, tone my body.
For
I don't
sure.
see the point of the waist trainers, and I don't know if there's any actual like evidence that is
No,
for
there's
them, for the use
yeah.
of them.
I don't think so. Like, I don't think that's I kind guess it's kind of similar to like the posture correctors, but I think the waist trainers are way worse than the
Mhm.
posture correctors. I don't think I've seen any research that says they're actually like beneficial. Because if you do want that hourglass figure, like there's certain muscle groups you want to target. Like obviously your core and your obliques, like you want that like rotation too. And
Mhm.
you want the lats to be more defined because that's what like your lats and your back muscles specifically to get that like I mean the lats specifically create that like V shape in your like more back. And then you want like hip thigh strength, like the lateral chain, so like your glute med and all of that. And I mean glute max, of course, we always want that, but like glute med
Mhm.
too. When you know the mechanics and you actually understand what the body like needs, then like the waist trainers just don't make sense. And also like
Yeah.
cutting, like your food intake is going to surpass the benefits of what the waist trainer is going to do for you for one night.
Mhm, yeah. There's definitely some people that just wear the waist trainer and they're like, "Okay, like this is gonna give me an hourglass figure." And there's
Mhm.
some that are like actually training and doing exercises while in the waist
Yeah.
trainer. But I don't think that it's like supplementing anything. I don't think you're like burning more calories or like you're
No.
not targeting your stomach just because you have the waist trainer on. You can build muscle in a certain like area, but you can't
Yeah.
target the fat in a certain area. You can't be like, "Okay,
Mhm.
I'm going to put this on and I'm going to burn the fat in my stomach so that you can actually see my abs pop through more." You can't like
Right.
target where like spot reduce fat. that's just going to be like throughout your whole body. You're going to burn fat, and your body's not going to be like, oh, like she's wearing the waist trainer. Let's get rid of this abdominal, like
If
visceral fat, you
only it
know?
worked like that.
If it did, oh my gosh, I'd be looking snatched right now.
What I do actually do though, it's obviously not a waist trainer, but I do the
Mhm.
sweatbands when I'm in the sauna. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
like wrap a sweatband around your like abdomen, and I only do when I'm in the sauna just to increase like my like internal like abdominal temperature to help just
Mhm.
like burn calories and fat.
Yeah. Oh,
But
that's
like
cool.
I only do that in the sauna. Like I don't work out with it.
Yeah, so that'll probably help
But
you sweat because you're wearing layers, but it's
yeah.
kind of different from like the
Yes.
actual waist trainer. And those things are
Yes.
so
So
tight. Like
tight.
I've seen people put them on. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're gonna cause some
Yeah.
like oh, that was another thing actually is I read about this is that the waist trainer can cause neuralgia paresthetica, which for those of you
Oh.
that don't know what that crazy word sounds there is, it's basically when you have like numbness or burning in because of compression in your lateral femoral cutaneous nerve, which is seen actually a lot with like pregnant women. Sometimes people that are overweight because you have that nerve that runs like in the front here, and any compression of that nerve can cause like burning or numbness down your thigh. So there have been
Mhm.
instances of people wearing like super tight waist trainers and getting that neuralgia paresthetica because they're wearing it for so long. So
Yeah.
kind of
True.
another
That's a good
thing to just
point.
keep in mind.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, absolutely not malapproved.
No.
It's a no
Ditch
for me.
ditch that waist trainer.
Yeah.
So our next one that I feel like this has been on social media and just we've heard of it so much, especially for
Mhm.
athletes, is a cold plunge. You know, you dip your body into like pretty cold water, usually like 50-ish degrees for like a short amount of time. Russians, they do that a lot. They do a lot of cold
Really?
plunges. Yes,
Oh,
that's a
I
big
didn't know
thing.
that.
Like, yeah, they'll go to
Cool.
like the banya, or it's kind of like a sauna, I guess, or the baths, and then they'll
Yeah.
do like a cold plunge after to kind of like shock your body. I think there's like mixed
Yeah.
evidence for this.
Totally.
Like there's
I
definitely
agree
some
with that.
benefits, and it depends on the age group too and like your overall health, but there's also like you were talking about earlier, and Mel will get into it. There's some cons for like women in particular with cold plunges, but I know like I've always heard of like college athletes doing like an ice bath or like a cold plunge. And we kind of got into this in our last wellness trends too. There's definitely some benefits, but there's also some things that, you know, you want to take into account. Usually for cold plunges, people do it to like reduce post exercise, like muscle soreness and
Mhm.
just overall inflammation. Because what the cold or like cryotherapy does is it constricts your vessels. So kind of it can kind of help with inflammation, just overall soreness, kind of getting things out of the muscle. And it's supposed to also improve like the circulation too. So there's some benefits, but then also Mel will kind of get into some more like newer research into why it may not necessarily be good for some people.
Yeah. Do you do cold plunges like ever?
I was gonna say I've done one, and that was
Just one
in
in your life?
one in my
That's
life,
it?
yeah. I
I didn't
am
know
a
that.
creature that does not like the cold. Well, okay,
Uh,
fine. I've done just kidding. I've done natural cold plunges. So like jumping
okay.
into an alpine lake.
Okay, that's
I
fair.
did
That counts.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It was freezing. So I went on a hike. It was like maybe 5, 6 mile hike. I'm not sure,
Oh,
but it was in
dang.
Leavenworth, and there was this alpine lake, and it was kind of like in the middle of the hike. And me and like two other girls were gonna jump in at the same time and get a cute picture. I hesitated because my body is like so just not it does not like the cold, and I
Yeah, I feel
hesitated,
that.
and them 2 jumped in, and then I ended up jumping in, like, kinda sliding into it, but that water was cold. It was kinda like a shock, and it
It
gave
is
me,
for
like, a
sure.
burst of adrenaline, and I was like, "Oh my gosh," like, I
Yes.
felt like I just had taken drugs, like,
Yeah.
I I felt good, like, in the moment because it's just like, "Whoa," like, that was cold and that woke me up. The coldest water I've ever touched was it was like a glacier lake in Montana, I think it was like the Grinnell Glacier hike. And that hike was really, really long and pretty brutal. And I remember thinking, if I jump into this water right now, like I will probably pass out and drown. So I put my toe in there and it was like maybe 1 degree like warmer than like solid ice. So I was
Oh
like,
my
no,
gosh.
there's chunks of ice floating in there. I am not going in there. But my
Yeah,
boyfriend
I
went
couldn't do
in.
it. Really?
Yeah,
Oh my god. David would never.
I
Oh my god.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. He hates the cold.
There was actually like, I don't know if this was a bachelor party. I don't know if it was like a CrossFit group or something, but there was a group of probably like 15 dudes and they all went in there like butt naked. And they
Oh,
were
like
in
literally
there
naked? Like
like
no,
literally naked. Yes.
like
Um,
nothing. Like
nothing on. They were
everything
just like
out,
covering their
like
stuff.
ass out. Oh, okay.
Booty out, yeah. And they
Okay.
went in there and they didn't just do a dunk. They actually stayed in there for like probably 5 minutes at least. And this was
Oh my god.
like not the coldest water I have ever touched. Like
That
legit,
makes me
there was
cold
still
thinking about it.
solid ice in there. And I was thinking like, okay, if they're gonna keep staying in here, I'm not gonna rescue them because I won't make it. Like I will freeze to death before I save somebody.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. But yes, cold plunges, there's more research coming out about it now because I mean, there's just so much more research now than there was like 10,
Yeah.
20 years ago, right? But it has different effects on women and men. And I do think the temperature makes a huge difference as well. For men, of course, nothing fucking affects them ever, or they can get away with a lot more and their hormones are not affected like women's are. And so
Yeah.
for women, what I have seen is, especially if you're doing it a lot, like every day or like more than just, 2 times a week, and for long periods of time. It actually is not great for our hormones because it really spikes. I think I did see the estrogen, and then I did see, I'm pretty sure cortisol because it increases your sympathetic drive. So, of course, cortisol is going to
Mhm.
go up. So, especially for like long periods of exposure, it really disrupts our hormones and can actually be like counterproductive. I'm thinking of women that have more body fat on
Mm.
because that will affect, like, cortisol affects everything, right? And especially like our body fat and metabolism. I think it very depend on the person and also the frequency in terms of the negative effects. It overstimulates our sympathetic nervous system. So again, I think that just goes back to the hormone disruption it has on us. That was
Mm.
like the gist of what I saw. There, I'm sure, might be more other physiological things that happen that I just don't know of or didn't read about.
What about doing
Yeah.
the cold plunge on your period? Like, or
Oh,
during that
yes.
time of the month?
Yes. It obviously always conflicting evidence, but
Mhm.
because when you're in your period, your hormones are already disrupted. What I saw said to not do it when you're on your period.
Okay. That
Yeah.
kind of makes sense, yeah, because if
Yeah.
it causes, like, vasoconstriction, you don't really want that blood just, like, I guess,
Yeah.
sitting there and
Yeah, and
accumulating.
since it affects, like, estrogen too, like, I'm
Yeah.
sure then it has some role in, like, progesterone and,
Mhm.
all of that, so I did think that was interesting. I did wanna do more research on that, but I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever done that or would ever do that, honestly. I just never had that
No.
urge.
Yeah. I feel like
But
especially during that time of the month, I gravitate towards
yeah,
heat. Like
heat, 100%.
anytime like I'm on my period, I definitely would want like a hot pack on me. I want to take a warm shower because you're already getting like muscle contractions and you're getting
Mhm.
cramps that the
Yeah,
cold would just it doesn't seem to like go with that. Like that would
totally.
just make me
Yeah.
feel worse.
Yes, and especially if you get cramps and,
Mm.
like, low back pain on your period, a lot of the time it's because the uterine contractions, like, have a reaction to the pelvic floor and surrounding areas. So, like, our muscles and ligaments literally like tighten and have a response. So,
Right.
adding cold to that just like doesn't make sense. Like, you'd want to add heat. That's why we have like the heating pads that a lot of women and people with vaginas tend to use. But I do like a good cold plunge now and then. Again, I think the temperature makes a big difference. I have been to, oh my God, this one Korean spa I went to had legitimately the coldest water I'd ever felt in my life, and I only lasted 10 seconds. I've been in others where I could last 3 minutes. So,
Yeah.
and those definitely were not as cold as that Korean spa. I also prefer, have you, oh no, you haven't done the fridges. You know the fridges that I do, like the cryotherapy fridges for
I've
humans?
seen those, but I've never tried
Yeah.
it before.
I like those so much more than cold plunges because it looks like a fridge for human
Mhm.
bodies. And it's dry cold. You know, when you open a freezer and you see the, not condensation, but like the
It's like the
evaporation of
vapor.
the vapor. Yeah. And
Yeah.
like yeah, moisture coming out as it hits the air. So when you open them, like that's what it does. And it looks like did you hear that
What
thunder?
was that?
That was thunder.
That sounded
It's
like
that
a huge crash.
It's that time of year in Florida where it literally rains every single day. So
Holy
it's like
crap.
pouring and thundering right
That was
now.
so loud. I thought that
That
like
was
David fell like right by you or something. Oh my god.
Florida
Oh my
seasons,
gosh.
y'all. I don't, oh, but I call them cryo human fridges. But I like
Yeah.
those because you don't get wet. I hate the cold, wet feeling. And you just go in, and at first, you're like fine. And then after like a minute, when you really start to feel it and get cold. But it just feels like you're outside in Chicago winter in a bikini.
Mhm.
Like that's what it
Yeah.
feels like to me. Like middle
Yeah.
of January in a bikini outside in the cold.
Yeah. I feel like
And
that would be
so,
more tolerable than being in like a body
yeah,
of water because if
yes.
like my fear when I'm doing like if you're in like a little like bath or something,
I'm sorry, there
then
was so much lightning right there, and I
yeah,
literally saw it go down.
that sounded like it was right by you. Okay.
It was
Anyway, my fear with jumping in a big body of water, like out in nature, is that I won't have control and my body will freeze. But like doing
oh,
it in
fair.
one of those like tanks or whatever they're called seems better to me because I could always just open the door and walk right out of there. This needs to be in our year long in our 50-second episode. It needs to be in like the bloopers clips or something.
Oh my gosh, that
Okay,
is
hopefully it's
crazy.
three in a
Yeah,
row and that's it.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's
No, yeah,
pretty
I feel
much
that.
cryotherapy.
Well, okay, I did have another thing to say though. I also think the
Okay.
reason why you want to do it matters. Athletes, high level functioning people can use it for muscle recovery, and that's great. I more so use it for just like mood and honestly like mentally challenging myself. I personally do it for more of the nervous system benefits and like for my
Mhm.
mood. So it shocks your nervous system so that you can calm down and relax. And it does give you that adrenaline rush and energy. Like, and that's a lot of times why I do the face ice dunking. Like, I'll just do my face.
Mhm.
That I do way more often. I used to do it like every weekend. I don't do it as much anymore just because of timing. I think that also makes a difference. Like, it definitely gives you a mood boost. Like, I definitely
Mhm.
notice when I go to do them, I'll usually do them on days where I'm like, trying to chill more or just like need a reset day and I'll like add it into that. But yeah,
Mhm.
cold plunges. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also I think technically supposed to do it for around 3 minutes. You shouldn't be doing it for like 10 minutes, I don't think.
And it probably also depends on the temperature of the water too.
Yes.
Like if
Oh
it's
yes,
colder,
100%.
obviously do not stay in for a really long time. I really like that you said that it's just something that's like a challenge to you. It's gonna just like
Mm-hmm.
mentally
Yeah.
challenge you. And I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of like I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and I think it was
Mhm.
the one that was
Is it
on
Diary of a
the
CEO?
no, he was with the
Oh.
Kardashians on
Oh. Andrew
Andrew and
Huberman?
Andrew Huberman, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was talking about how like it's good for us to like challenge ourselves and do
Yes.
something that's like mentally tough. Like
Yes.
we don't
Totally.
do those kinds of things anymore. So like a cold
Yeah.
plunge or something that just like mentally challenges you and you have to get over that and be like I can do this, like I am tough because it
Mm-hmm.
just makes every other thing like those daily things that kind of stress us out seem not
Yeah.
so big, like not so
Mhm.
stressful. He said you're supposed to do those things every once in a while and there's like an area in your brain that can actually grow if you
Yeah.
continue to like challenge yourself. But then when you
Neuroplasticity, people.
yes, so like our brains can change and we can create new like neuronal networks. So it just makes you like mentally tough too, just like by
Mhm.
subjecting yourself to that like new temperature.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's
Cause
another
sometimes,
thing.
like, yeah, definitely. It is mentally challenging, but I'm like, I know there's a timer. I know when it's gonna be over. I can fucking do this.
Mhm.
Like, I got this. I'm gonna just get in my zone and last like 30 more seconds. It's usually kicks in at
Yeah.
like the 2 minutes where you're like, fuck, I want to get out. But then you're like, no, I got this.
Yeah, and then you feel so strong afterwards, like, you're
Yes,
like,
you do.
"Wow, I just did that, like, that felt good, like, that was
Yes.
exhilarating,"
Like,
you know?
literally get out of your comfort zone. But also, I was
Yes.
just gonna say before we go to the next wellness trend, I do this more in the winter to prepare for coming back to Chicago for the winter because my
Oh,
body
yeah.
gets used to the heat, and I'm like, "I need to, like, make myself be cold again to, like, be able to
Yeah.
withstand this cold when I go back."
I know. That's funny that you say that because now it's like the opposite for me because I'm going to Chicago this weekend,
Oh,
which I'll
yeah.
talk about in the break room talks episode. But
Yes.
right now, like here, it's been like 60s, like mornings are like 55. And in
Mhm.
Chicago, there's been a heat
Oh
wave,
my god,
like
yeah, it was, like, 90.
95 degrees, and then
Yeah.
it's humid.
Crazy.
So I feel like I'm going to like the opposite climate. So maybe I need
Yeah.
to like go into like a sauna and just like stay there for an hour to be able to survive Chicago weather.
Yes. Okay, so are cold plunges approved or not by you?
I would say overall, yes, but like, obviously there's little circumstances
Yes,
where I would say like,
for
okay,
sure.
maybe not. So not in every
Yeah.
instance, but overall, yes.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with that. I do think sauna over cold plunge though is just overall better health-wise for you, but there are
Yeah.
definitely good benefits to the cold plunge. So,
Hmm.
semi-approved. Not
Yes.
for every single person, but for a
Yeah.
lot.
Okay. Big diversion from from cold plunges. Our next topic is
Beef tallow, the huge craze of beef tallow. And who
Mhm.
started it? Like Paul Saladino loves to talk about beef tallow. I think Joe
I don't
Rogan
know who
probably
that
talked about
is.
beef tallow. Um,
Probably.
yeah, a lot of those types of people. I do think there is benefit to beef tallow in terms of eating and skincare, but you literally have to be careful because I just saw a sign on the Florida US 19 highway that was for Steak and Shake that said beef tallow fries, and that shit is not healthy.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
no.
like they're just using that for marketing, and I'm like, bro, there's
Wait, that's
literally so
hilarious.
yeah, literally huge ass billboard, beef tallow fry steak and shake. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this shit is not grass fed pasture raised. This is not organic. This is not unbleached. Like, you're playing us. This is a marketing scheme.
Oh, absolutely.
So you have to be careful with that.
So, tell us kind of a little bit about what beef tallow is for people that
Yes.
have not seen it all over their For You page.
Yes. So when you do cook meat, there's a layer of fat that comes to the surface because it not emulsifies, it separates.
Mhm.
So it separates the fat from like the actual lean meat and whatnot. And so the fat does have a lot of nutrients, like the fat soluble vitamins, like A, D, E, K. They are really good for you. And we do need them, obviously, in moderation. A lot of other foods have them as well. But that's, I think, where the craze for beef tallow came out of. It's like it has all of these vitamins, and this is why it's good. I personally didn't see a bunch of other crazy like benefits of it outside of the vitamins. Did you see anything?
Not necessarily for like diet, I would say, but a lot of people, at least on TikTok and like TikTok shop, I was seeing a lot of
Oh my god, yes.
beef tallow in skincare.
Yes.
And people were claiming that they got clear skin, like they had acne for years and then got clear skin after like 1 week of using beef tallow. I read a lot about it online because I was curious and
Yeah.
I am a fellow acne girly and I'm always trying to keep up to date with like the new things that are coming out. I read that if you are prone to acne, beef tallow is comedogenic, which means that it's going to clog your pores. And what is a pimple? It's a clogged pore. So I would say if you have acne, be careful because it actually does more harm than good. If you don't have acne prone skin, then it is a good alternative to like a moisturizer if you want something more natural. It's very thick and like people claim that it doesn't have a smell. I don't know if I buy that. I've never actually smelled it myself, but I can imagine that it like smells very good. I've seen it a lot with skincare, but then also cooking. So like Mel mentioned, it has a lot of saturated fat. Saturated fat is good in moderation, like in low doses.
Yeah.
They say that you're supposed to have about 6% of your calories in a day come from saturated fat. So that's actually not a
Mhm.
whole lot. So if you're cooking with it, just be cautious and make sure you know like how much you're ingesting, because
Yeah, for
what
sure.
happens with saturated fat is that it can raise your LDL cholesterol. So we have HDL, which is high density lipoprotein, and we have LDL, which is low density. LDL, we don't want it to be high because that's like your bad cholesterol. That cholesterol can basically cause like clogged arteries and increase your risk for like cardiovascular disease, like heart attack. You can have strokes. So you want to just
Mhm.
be cautious and really pay attention to how much of the saturated fat you're ingesting.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like I would say I wouldn't personally use it to cook. Like there's other alternatives that are lower
Yeah.
in saturated fat, like probably avocado oil. And we also get saturated fat from a bunch of other things in our diet.
Right. For
So,
sure.
and even just like red meat, has a lot of saturated
Totally.
fat. So just be cautious. I would not use it as like a cooking oil all the time.
Yes, not all the time. So I actually have beef tallow for cooking and for
Hmm.
face and skincare because I wanted to try it.
How is it?
And so, in terms of cooking, I have used it for some things, but I definitely do not use it every day. And I only use it for like chicken, and I have used it for eggs before. What else have I used it on? Not vegetables.
How does it
Um,
taste?
I don't really taste much of a difference. Like I don't really taste the
Hmm.
flavor of it. I got a really clean one, so I just like made sure it had like all the key things you want and what you don't want. I honestly don't use it as much as I used to, and like you said avocado oil, I was going to say I think avocado oil is probably better or just as good. Like I think use avocado oil over beef tallow just because it's easier. Like with the beef tallow, it's like solid. So you have to like scoop it out. And it's just a little, it's not as efficient. Like I'd rather just have my like little canister on the side of the oven of oil and just like, use it when I need to. But, it was fine. Would I get another one? I honestly don't think I'll get another one once I move out of this apartment because I just don't care that much. But I wanted to try it. And in terms of skincare, I use it probably twice a week and I
Okay.
only use it at night. I do an acid serum after I wash my face. I like skin cycle, so I don't use the same products every single day. So
Hmm.
on nights that I feel like I need a deeper moisturizer, that is when I'll use it. So I'll do like an acid serum and then I'll let that completely dry and then I'll do beef tallow and sleep in that. So I'll only do that like maybe twice a week. And I do like it when I feel like I really need like moisturization, but I also don't have acne prone skin. Like,
I
I
was
don't
gonna say,
really,
yeah, your skin has always been good, and I
yeah.
don't think in literally how many years I've known you, I think I've maybe seen you have a pimple once.
In Michigan, that one
Like,
fucking pimple
I
I got
don't
in
even
Michigan.
know. Yeah, so it's hard to say because Mel is definitely not acne prone,
Yeah,
and you've always had glowing skin. So, like, maybe for you it's good and it
yeah,
works, but
right.
I would say for anyone that's acne prone, just be
Yes, like
cautious.
especially sensitive skin, it is
Mhm.
really thick. Like I really lather it and I put it like not a lot on it, like enough to just get like a layer on everywhere. But I do
Mhm.
kind of like the smell. Like it just smells like natural and clean.
Yeah,
Like
like
so
it doesn't
I
have
just
any
like
like
that.
artificial like
Yeah.
additives or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think everyone needs it and everyone should use it. It definitely is like a trial and error thing. I do think though it would be really good for people's necks because our necks
Mhm.
don't really get acne and we need more moisture in our necks and that's where our age shows. So I feel like
Yeah.
if people got like beef tallow and have a little more sensitive skin, like I think putting it on like your neck and chest for like
Mm.
moisturization there would be really beneficial.
Yeah, that's
And
a good point.
actually scars as well, like scars on your body since it does have all of those vitamins. And I usually always tell people vitamin E for scars as well,
Yeah.
and it has vitamin E in it. So I think if you have like scarring or something like that on your body, not the face, maybe the face, but just depends.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I think it'd be good for that too, just because of the vitamins it has in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. If you guys have tried beef tallow, because I know this is like a big
Yes.
craze, I feel like over the last couple months, let us
Mhm.
know. Comment
For
on these
sure.
videos and just let us know
Yeah,
what
do you
your
love it?
experience is. Yeah, because I'm
Do
like,
you swear by it? Like
do you
some
swear by
influencers
it?
do? I've
Yeah.
literally listened to some influencers on podcasts say, "Oh, I just use beef tallow. Like my skin is amazing. I only use
And
beef
that's
tallow."
the
I'm
only
like,
thing that they use. I'm
"Well,
like,
do you?"
no way.
Yeah,
I
I
want to
don't think I
know.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you are going to look for beef tallow, make sure that it has this on the label. So you
Hmm.
want 100% grass fed. If it just says grass fed, do not count that bullshit. That's a marketing scheme. 100% grass fed and pasture raised. Sorry, grass finished and or pasture raised for sure. Pasture raised is always what you want.
Wait, what
But
is grass finished?
I don't know what the exact process is.
Is that different than grass fed?
Yes. So
Oh.
100% grass fed is just like what they ate, right? Like what the cows ate.
Hmm.
And then grass finished is something they do in the actual, what is the process called? I'm forgetting the term.
Like
But
to
it's like,
basically make the oil.
yeah, uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want grass finished. And then pasture raised goes hand in hand with grass fed because you could say grass fed, but it might not be on a pasture. So you want to make sure it's
Mhm.
pasture raised. And then no hormones or antibiotics, and then unbleached and or unrefined. So those are the things you want to look for in the label.
Take notes,
Yeah.
guys. If you're gonna do the
Yeah.
whole beef tallow thing and hop on the trend, then just make sure you're getting good quality beef tallow.
Yes, for sure.
Okay,
All right.
moving on to the next one is IV injections, IV
Mm-hmm.
drips, things
Yeah.
of that nature. Actually, in California, I think that's like a really, really big thing. There's a lot of like IV
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
clinics. Like I
bet.
know of a lot of people that are from California and be like, oh, when I go home, I'm gonna get an IV drip. They have all these claims that they can basically like cure, make everything in life better. Like if you have a hangover, just get an IV drip and then that'll just like cure the hangover. It can help
Yeah.
clear your skin, you can lose weight, you're going to detox your body, improve your immune system. Like, yes, I can see how some of those claims and some of that can be beneficial, but these drips, I don't know if you've seen how expensive they are.
Oh, they're
They
so expensive.
are hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I'm not saying that none of those claims are true. Like maybe they are. Maybe it will hydrate you
Yeah.
after a hangover. Maybe it will increase your immunity or like your immune system. But there's so many other ways and other just like daily habits that you can do or things that you can do in a preventative way to avoid a hangover. For every drink that you
Yeah.
have, just drink
For
one glass
sure.
of water or
Yeah,
like take
literally.
electrolytes, things like that. And
Mhm.
that those are not hundreds of dollars. Oh my oh my god. The thunder's like, "Hell yeah." I would say personally, I've never had an IV drip. Like, I don't know if I ever
Same. I
would
haven't
want one.
either.
It's just weird to me. Like, I feel like I think of an
Yeah.
IV and I think like automatically like I'd be in the hospital, like getting some drugs pumped into my body. Like, it's just weird to me that some people just do it so regularly, but there's just so
Yeah,
many other alternatives. Like, I guess if you
totally.
have the means and you have the money, then why not? But I would just make sure that it's a very, very like clean, trusted clinic, or if they come to your house, everything's like clean and sterile with the IV. And you just kind of look into like the claims that they're making if you are going to do it.
Yeah. 100%. I definitely think it's a money grab. Like it is definitely how just so many businesses make money and profit off of it because I don't think they're necessary. You can totally do whatever you need to do without it and find those things without getting IV drips. Obviously, it's a faster source to get in things into your bloodstream because if you're eating, digesting things, it takes longer than like going through the bloodstream of the IV. And so I guess there's that, but like they're just so expensive for no reason. Like vitamin C1 or vitamin B12. And also
Mhm.
for vitamin B12, you want to make sure it's a certain type of vitamin B12 because there's different types of synthetic vitamin B12 and some are better than others. So you just want to make sure to do your research on that. I saw something that like Kendall Jenner and Haley Bieber were doing like NAD plus IV like drips and stuff,
Mm.
which I feel like that makes more sense because like NAD plus. I guess I don't know enough research on NAD plus, but that's a like more specific one, not just vitamins you can get from food and other supplements and stuff. But I have never gotten one, and I honestly don't care to like at all.
Yeah, I feel like there's many other things that I can do in my
Yeah.
life that would have the same benefit, if not more. I also don't like needles. I don't want to be stabbed unnecessarily. It just seems artificial to me. I'd
Yeah,
rather
for
just do
sure.
it in a more natural way, whatever
Definitely.
you're
Like
trying to achieve
literally
with IV.
go eat a watermelon. That has so many electrolytes, like an insane amount of electrolytes.
Drink some
And that's
coconut
whole food,
water. Yeah.
literally whole food.
Yeah, they say
Ah,
coconut water is like nature's Gatorade. Like it has so many
yes.
electrolytes. It's very hydrating. I used to use a lot of coconut water in my smoothies and I kind of just forgot about it. But coconut water has so many
Yes.
electrolytes
I
if you
love
want
coconut
something more
water.
natural.
Yes. Whole foods.
I
Yay.
love that.
So not really Mel or Al approved.
No.
Nah, it's a nah.
It's a no for
Okay.
me.
So this next one, actually, I saw, Raven Ross, Pilates by Raven
I
Girl.
love her. Okay,
So
don't even get me
she
started.
talked I do love her. She
Yeah.
talked about this one, but the castor oil, but specifically castor oil packs where you put the castor oil in your belly button and then
Oh,
put
yeah.
like a thing over it. But there's a couple different ways you can do this, but just castor oil in general in the first place. Castor oil does have a lot of therapeutic benefits in general. Actually, I talked to my acupuncturist about it and she was like, "Yeah, like it's great for these, these things that I will get to." Um,
Mhm.
but I've never like thought about drinking it though, so I don't know if you saw anything on that.
Um, I
Cuz you said
yeah,
cuz it is a natural laxative, like you said the FDA considers it a natural laxative?
oh, yes. Yeah, it's been a while since I did this research. I totally forgot about that. So yeah, some people, I don't know exactly what quantity, but some people like consume castor oil
Mm,
because it's like plant derived. But some people
yeah.
consume it as like a natural laxative. I don't know if that means it's approved, but they recognize that it can be a natural laxative. So just be
Okay.
careful. Make sure
Yeah.
you're not taking too much because you don't want
Yeah,
to be
like
stuck on the
chugging castor
toilet.
oil, absolutely not.
Yeah. But honestly, I've seen a lot more, like, especially recently in the media, I've seen a lot of it, like the castor oil packs, like people putting it on like over
Yeah.
their belly button and then going to bed and waking up. And it's supposed to help like detox a little bit,
Yeah.
and just reduce inflammation. How I got into castor oil more was that I kind of noticed that people were saying it helps grow your hair. You know, when people like oil their hair, I would put that
Yeah.
like in my scalp and even like I had in a little bottle. I would put on my eyelashes and I did
Yeah.
notice that it helped it grow. It's just very, very greasy. It's a very,
It
very
is
thick
so greasy.
oil and it's
So
hard because
thick.
it'll get everywhere and sometimes it would
Yes.
get in my eye. So I stopped doing that. But that there's a lot of different benefits. It's a very
There
like
are.
holistic um
For sure.
thing that's been around for ages and it does
Yeah.
I was reading it has a lot of benefits.
For sure. Actually, when Raven posted about it on social media, it was the first time I heard about it, and I was like, "Whoa,
Mhm.
what? Let me look into this." And then I got it for myself, and I started doing it. But when I did research on it, it actually pulls toxins out by stimulating lymphatic drainage, and it also stimulates. I saw that your vagus nerve and like
Oh,
parasympathetic
interesting.
nervous system. Yeah. And
Wow.
okay, what else? Let me see my notes. Because I wrote notes because I was like, oh my, that's just so much information. Oh, so it has a specific type of acid. I don't know if it's ricinoleic. I feel like that the C is pronounced like an S. Um, that calms inflammation in your GI tract. So it helps with like GI motility and constipation and bloating and decreases fluid retention. So, I
Mhm.
mean, that to me made sense because 'cause I'm like, it's a really thick oil, so fluid will wanna be, like, pulled towards, like, I don't know, out? I don't know. I don't know how I thought about it, but to me, it just made
Yeah.
sense. But helps with fluid retention. I think that was the biggest thing. I also saw it has to be activated by heat, which I don't know if a lot of people know about that part because I don't really
Oh.
see people talking about the heat in terms of doing the castor oil packs. So,
Mhm.
I actually this is a crazy. I got the stickers, so I would put it on my
Uh-huh.
belly button and I would put the sticker over it. The stickers gave me a reaction, and I had like a sticker um
Oh,
mark on my stomach from them. And I was like, okay, fuck the stickers. They're giving my skin a reaction. It literally
yeah.
took like a month for my skin to like normalize. I did like red light
What?
therapy to my stomach, and like I did like acid serums and creams. Actually did put beef
Yeah.
tallow on those areas
Oh,
because
you
I was
must have
like,
been, like,
I literally have
allergic.
hyperpigmentation right now.
Oh my
Like because
gosh.
yeah,
Dang. I was gonna say
yeah,
you're
it was
probably
crazy.
allergic to,
Um
like, the actual adhesive that they were using
yeah,
in the sticker. Because 'cause
yes.
I've seen some people use,
Yeah.
like it's like a strap, so it's just literally like this, like
Yes.
they soak this, like, piece of, like, cotton or something with
Yeah.
the castor oil and then put it on, so it doesn't have any sort of, like, adhesive, it just, like, sits on top of your belly,
Yeah.
which is
Mhm.
probably better than having, like, a
Yeah.
actual, like, adhesive material.
I ordered like a fabric flannel thing that you put and it ties.
Yeah.
And so I got that now. So I'll do it a couple times a week, especially if I feel really tired because I just want like a deeper sleep and just like, I don't know, if I feel more bloated, I'll do it. But I don't know if I'd say I notice anything specifically, but I mean, I never am constipated and I don't really ever bloat like that. So, mm, but yeah, you're technically supposed to use heat over it, so
Yeah.
it activates it more.
And
So,
then same thing for this, like, don't just get any castor oil out there that you
yeah,
see, like, you need to have one that's, like, clean, like, processed well, you want it to be cold pressed, hexane free, so there's, like, one brand that was really recommended was it called Pacific Natural
Pacific.
Medicine?
Yeah,
Yeah, so you want it to be unrefined and, like, in a glass bottle, so just make sure you're getting a good quality one so that you actually get all of the benefits that we talked about. But for me, I would say that this one is definitely approved. I feel like there's a
yeah.
lot of benefits and I love naturopathic medicine and I feel like I'm
Mhm,
just gearing more towards that direction now at
yeah,
this phase of life. Like I really just don't want to use any medications at all. Like I
yeah,
want to go to the doctor's office and be like, they always ask you, that's the first thing they ask you is like, are you taking any medications? Are you on birth control? Like this. And I'm just like, nope, nope, nope.
mhm,
Like, I don't wanna have to take anything anymore. And
no,
if I do and I need something to, debloat or whatever, then I'd
yeah,
rather look into, like, natural stuff first before I'm like,
yeah,
"Okay, like, I need medicine for this." So, I
totally,
would say yes for
totally.
me.
Approved.
Yes.
All
All
right.
right.
Last wellness trend. I was actually this was so funny because I was listening to Giggly Squad and they were talking about lymphatic drainage and like if the massages are actually a thing and if lymphatic drainage was a thing. And I was like, okay, I know they are not in the healthcare world or really have any health science background,
Knowledge,
but I was
background,
like,
yeah.
the lymphatic system is a huge organ system that we all need to be working properly.
Yeah.
Like it is one of the main organ systems in our body. So the lymphatic system is very important, first of
Yes.
all.
And a lot of people don't even know that it exists. Like if you're not in the medical
Yes.
field, you probably you know your circulatory system, right? Like your respiratory system, but your lymphatic system is huge. It
Yes.
basically connects the entire body together and it's just yeah, it's very important.
Yes. So pretty much to just have some more background on the lymphatic system if you're not familiar with it. All of our cells in our body have these lymphatic vessels that go into the lymph nodes. We have a bunch of lymph nodes all over our bodies. Sometimes you can even feel them in your neck. Like I know
Mhm.
sometimes I can feel them, and especially if you're like sick or have any like cold infection, whatnot, you might be able to feel them in your neck a little more. They're kind of circular. But we have these lymph nodes like everywhere. The vessels go from our cells into the nodes, and then the nodes drain into the ducts. And that then is where everything it starts the filtration process from the lymph vessel. Once it goes into the ducts, we have two main ducts in the body. These ducts are really fucking important. The ducts then go into our excretion system, aka I think spleen and definitely kidneys. And then all of that gets filtered through where we pee it out and excrete it all out in better terms.
Mhm.
So we need the lymphatic system to literally get rid of these toxins and bigger molecules that we don't want in our bloodstream and in our cells. So it's super important, and lymphatic massages are now a huge thing, and I feel like I've only seen influencers talk about it in terms of, like, debloating the stomach, but, like, if you think about it, like, that's where we hold a lot of our, like, fluid and, like, our GI system, right? Like, those ducts have to go to our GI system
Mhm.
to, like, excrete it all out. So if you're backed up per se, it's all gonna accumulate there. So lymphatic drainage massages, I do think are great. I really wanna get one. I just haven't really, like, needed to at this point, but I do wanna get one, especially before I go on vacation. Mm.
Yeah, I feel like if like you're really bloated or something, it would feel
Yeah.
great. I was gonna say too, like if you guys have ever heard of lymphedema, there's like actual like therapists that specialize in lymphedema. So we learned a little bit about it in PT school,
Yeah.
but usually lymphedema develops after somebody has had lymph node removal, usually because of cancer in the area, and they're just removing the lymph nodes just to be safe because cancer spreads very easily through the lymph nodes into other parts of the body because like we talked about, the lymphatic system is all throughout the body. It connects to
Mhm.
all of the tissues. It's our drainage system. That's
Mhm.
why when you have lymph node removal, you can get a lot of swelling because the lymph
Mhm.
nodes are the ones that kind of control that and kind of send or like shift the
Yeah.
water and all that retention towards the kidneys to excrete it out of the body. There are a couple ways to kind of help to get some of like the swelling, some of like the lymph fluid out of the body. Exercise, walking, just like that muscle contraction helps to kind of
Mhm.
stimulate that flow because our arteries have little pumps and kind of they have little, what are they called to prevent backflow?
The venous system. It's the
Oh, that's
valves.
the oh, that's the valve. Sorry, the valves. We don't really have anything that's like pumping the lymph out. So there's ways that you can do that, like walking. We talked about exercise, deep breathing. The diaphragm, which we talked about earlier, is like that muscle that
Mhm.
kind of sits under your rib cage, and just deep breathing helps to stimulate some of that like lymph movement and lymphatic
Mhm.
drainage. We talked
Yeah.
about massages. A big thing that I have been seeing actually is dry brushing. And
Oh, yeah.
I
Yes.
really, really want to try that. I've been
Yes.
using, and this is probably different, but I've been using like a Japanese washcloth. And it's like,
Ooh.
I kind of rub it pretty aggressively over my skin. And I kind of start like distally and then work my way like more proximal. And I really like it, but I feel like I want to try dry brushing and
Yeah.
see if I notice any difference. Because
Yeah,
sometimes you do feel really bloated, and I feel like
for sure.
that would help. Um,
Definitely. I
but
do dry brushing on my, like, everything wash days, so I only do it, like,
oh,
once a
yeah.
week, so
Yeah, it probably
but
adds, like, a couple minutes to the routine. The last thing that I saw was, gravity and positioning. So this is one that I do a lot, especially when you just have those long days and you feel like your legs are literally just swollen from standing 10 hours a day. I will come home and I will just prop my feet up against the wall or something because I don't have a great place to, like, do it now. But literally just elevating your legs for like 5-10 minutes helps to just use gravity and kind of bring everything back to like the main trunk where you have all your
Mhm.
lymph vessels. So you have lymph
Yeah.
vessels in your armpits, you have your like supraclavicular lymph nodes, you have some like right over here, like behind your almost like under your ear, and then you have some in your groin. So by elevating your legs, you're kind of getting gravity to kind of shunt everything down like towards like the hips.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps a little
Oh.
bit too.
Yeah, I just thought of something else. So,
Mhm.
like, the skincare technique, gua sha,
Oh, yeah.
that is also lymphatic drainage. Like, that's literally what that is doing. It's decreasing the
Mhm.
puffiness in your face by moving the fluid to the lymph nodes. So, like, the actual real way to do it is, like, first you want to stimulate the lymph nodes, which
Mhm.
like are going to be armpit and like the neck where your collarbone is, and then even behind like the jaw, like right under the ear. So like there's certain techniques. If you're going to do gua sha, you want to stimulate those areas first to like open up the lymph nodes, and then do the gua sha so the fluid moves into them smoother and more efficiently. So definitely Mel and L approved. We love
For
lymphatic
sure.
drainage. Super important for us as humans. But I did like how that you brought up exercise because I definitely forget that like the muscle pump is a thing. Muscles are just we need so much movement for everything in our life and body. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, they are natural ways to get the lymphatic system going.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say I used to be really good at it. Like I would just keep my gua sha in my shower and just do it
Yeah.
like every time I was in the shower because
Oh, that's a good idea.
usually people do it with like a skin oil or something.
Good
But I
idea.
really like to just do it in the shower because you're already there. You don't have to get the oil all over your face. It's just a little bit easier for me to do. And that's the only way that I noticed that I was like more consistent with like my gua sha
That's
routine.
fair.
I have no
Mm.
idea where mine went, to be honest, with this last move.
Oh
I haven't used it
no.
in 6 weeks, and I literally now looking at my face in the
Dang.
camera, I'm like, "I need to start doing it again because I feel my face is, like, a little bit puffier, and I'm just, like,
Yeah,
retaining that fluid more." So, for
that's
me
true.
and Mel, yeah, definitely approved. We
Yes.
love lymphatic drainage.
Yes, treat your lymphatic system kindly.
But
Uh,
we always love to talk about different like healthcare wellness trends. We want to do this like a little bit more regularly, like not every month, but maybe like, every
yeah.
2 months or something, just to like
Yeah.
keep up to date with all the wellness trends that you guys have been seeing. If you guys have any that you want us to talk about, to research for you so you don't have to, let us know, add it to the Google form because we are always curious and we always like to be up to date with these kinds of things and just try them ourselves because I think it's always fun to try like the things I see on social
Yeah.
media. We thank you guys for listening to today's episode. We love to keep up with all the wellness trends and wanted to discuss them with you guys today as well. But we want to know what your favorite wellness trends are. Drop a comment, let us know what your go-tos are and if there are any that we didn't really touch on or hit on. We appreciate each and every one of you in the physio community and have a lot of exciting plans for our podcast in the future. And we want you to join us on this amazing journey. So don't forget to rate us after listening. It really, really helps us out. It helps to grow the podcast. Every single one of you, it makes a difference. So we appreciate you guys. We hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.